The planet Zorathia glowed under twin suns, its crystal towers reflecting light like a sea of diamonds. The streets below shimmered with moving vehicles and beings of many shapes and colors, each one more exotic than the next. Yet amid all this beauty and power, Princess Liara felt strangely alone. Today was another day of introductions, another day where she would meet suitors who hoped to win her hand. Liara had grown up in the royal palace, a place of sparkling walls and endless corridors. She was intelligent, brave, and kind, yet most of the alien clans found her strange. Some whispered that her ideas were too bold, that she questioned too much, and that her heart was too human-like. They wanted a princess who would follow rules, obey traditions, and remain silent behind her beauty. Liara was none of those things. She had a sharp mind, a curious heart, and a desire to see the galaxy in a different way. This morning she stood on a balcony overlooking the central plaza. The crowd below was gathered for the selection ceremony, where her suitors would present themselves. Alien music filled the air, a mix of sounds that tickled the ears and made the crystal towers vibrate faintly. Liara's eyes scanned the crowd and she saw familiar faces, tall Zorathians with long, luminous hair, the slim, silver-skinned Vortan with eyes like liquid metal, the broad, armored Thalric who moved with the precision of a machine. Each one had come hoping to impress her. Yet in the past, none had truly caught her attention. Her thoughts drifted to her own hopes. She did not want just a husband. She wanted someone who could match her mind, her courage, and her heart. She wanted someone who could see her as more than a princess, who would respect her as a partner, not a prize. Her father, King Voran, believed that tradition was everything, that the clan's choice must be respected. Yet Liara felt a quiet rebellion inside her, a wish to decide her own future. The first suitor approached, Lord Kirin of the Thalric. He was strong, taller than most, and wore polished armor that reflected the sunlight. He bowed deeply and spoke in a booming voice. "Princess Liara, I bring gifts of the finest Zorathian steel. My strength and skill in battle are unmatched." Liara listened politely, but her heart did not stir. She had seen strength before and she respected it, but she wanted more than power. She wanted intelligence, courage, and heart. Lord Kirin continued, performing complex maneuvers with his weapon, demonstrating his martial skill. The crowd cheered, but Liara remained unmoved. She offered a polite nod and said, "Your skill is impressive, Lord Kirin, but I seek more than strength alone." Kirin's brow furrowed and he retreated, bowing stiffly before leaving. Next came a Vortan diplomat, slim and elegant, with eyes that seemed to see straight into her mind. "Princess," he said softly, "I offer knowledge of the stars and wisdom beyond your years. I can guide you through politics, through science, through life itself." Liara tilted her head. He spoke well and his mind was sharp. Yet there was something missing, a spark, a warmth that made her feel alive. She thanked him, but her heart remained quiet. One by one suitors came. They were strong, wise, cunning, and rich. Yet each time Liara's heart felt untouched. The day wore on and Liara began to feel a quiet frustration. Was there no one in the galaxy who could meet her? Was she truly destined to be alone, even as a princess of Zorathia? She wandered to a quiet garden inside the palace, a place where flowers glowed under artificial lights and water flowed in silver streams. Here she could breathe, away from the eyes of the court. She touched a glowing flower and whispered to herself, "Why is it so hard to find someone who sees me for who I am?" A soft sound behind her caught her attention. A visitor, unexpected, stood at the edge of the garden. He was human, not alien. His uniform was simple, clearly designed for diplomacy rather than decoration. Humans were rare in the galaxy. They were considered primitive, untested, and often weak compared to alien civilizations. "Princess Liara," he said with a small bow. His voice was calm, respectful, and steady. Liara studied him carefully. He was not flashy, not overly strong, not surrounded by wealth or power. Yet something about him made her curious. There was confidence in his stance, an intelligence in his eyes, and a quiet courage in his presence. He did not try to impress with weapons or wealth, he simply was. "I am Captain Jason Hart," he said. "I am here to represent Earth and to learn from your people." Liara felt an unusual stir of interest. She had met humans before in stories and through reports, but never one face to face. They were small in number, untested, yet somehow she sensed something powerful in him, not in muscles or riches, but in mind and heart. "Welcome, Captain Hart," Liara replied. "It is unusual for humans to attend the selection ceremony. Tell me, what do you hope to find here?" Jason smiled faintly. "I hope to understand your people, your ways, and perhaps to build a bridge between our worlds. I do not seek power or titles, Princess." Liara's curiosity grew. Here was someone who did not bow to the usual rules, who thought differently, who was brave enough to come alone into a galaxy full of giants. She decided to watch him quietly, observing how he moved, spoke, and interacted with others. Even when approached by other aliens, he remained calm, polite, and clever in his answers. As the day turned into evening, Liara returned to the balcony. She watched as the remaining suitors performed displays of strength, intelligence, and wealth. She nodded politely at each, but her heart felt empty. Yet, in the distance, she saw Jason still standing among the crowd, not trying to impress anyone, simply being himself. A thought sparked in her mind, bold and daring. Perhaps it was time to take control of her own future. Perhaps it was time to choose someone not because tradition demanded it, but because her heart told her so. The twin suns began to set, casting the crystal towers in hues of pink and gold. Liara's decision formed quietly inside her. For the first time, she imagined a path not guided by rules or expectations, but by courage and choice. And in that moment, her gaze found Jason, and something inside her clicked. Tomorrow, she would make a choice unlike any other. Not because he was strong, rich, or clever in ways the aliens expected, but because he was human, and in his humanity, she saw something rare: courage, intelligence, and a heart untouched by fear or pride. The princess felt a flutter of hope, a feeling she had not allowed herself in years. Perhaps the one who no one expected, the human, was the one who could truly stand by her side. And with that thought, Liara prepared herself for the boldest decision of her life. For tonight she would rest, but tomorrow, the galaxy would witness something extraordinary. The princess, unchosen by all, would look at a human and ask the question no one had dared before. The next morning, Zorathia's crystal towers shone brighter than ever, reflecting the twin suns in streaks of gold and silver. The selection ceremony continued in the Grand Central Plaza, where thousands of aliens gathered to watch the princess meet her suitors. Today, the crowd buzzed with curiosity because a human, Captain Jason Hart, had been allowed to remain near the palace grounds. Humans were rare visitors, and most aliens did not take them seriously. Yet some whispered that this human might surprise everyone. Liara stood on the balcony overlooking the plaza, her flowing robes sparkling in the sunlight. She had made a quiet decision overnight. She would no longer wait for someone to impress her. She would look at the one who had already caught her attention in subtle ways and see if he was worthy. Not because of tradition, not because of strength, but because of courage, heart, and intelligence. Jason moved carefully among the crowd, observing the other suitors with quiet curiosity. He had been trained to understand alien cultures, to speak respectfully, and to remain calm under pressure, but even he felt the weight of this moment. Humans were considered weak in the galaxy, and Jason knew that many eyes were on him, judging him before he had done anything. Liara noticed him first. She observed how he stood, how he moved, and how he spoke softly to the attendants around him. He was calm, polite, and clever, never trying to show off. Unlike the other suitors who flaunted their wealth, strength, or intelligence, Jason simply was. There was no pretense, no performance, no grand display. His confidence came from within, quiet but firm. During the morning introductions, several alien suitors tried to impress her. A tall, silver-skinned Vorton approached and began speaking about the stars, sharing knowledge of planets far beyond Zorathia. Liara listened politely but remained unmoved. Then a group of Thalric warriors performed complex combat drills, their movements precise and deadly. The crowd cheered, but her heart stayed quiet. She appreciated skill and knowledge, but something deeper was missing. Jason quietly approached, holding a small communication device. "Princess Liara," he said politely, "I brought some records of Earth's technology and culture. Perhaps they may be of interest to you or your council." Liara's eyes widened slightly. Most suitors came with gifts of gold, weapons, or exotic artifacts. None had ever offered knowledge so openly without expectation or pride. She nodded with interest. "Captain Hart, knowledge is more valuable than wealth to those who seek understanding. Show me what you have learned." Jason activated the device and a small holographic display rose into the air. It showed the Earth from space, cities lighting up at night, humans working together to build machines and explore the stars. The aliens around them murmured in curiosity, some skeptical, some fascinated. Liara leaned closer. She asked questions and Jason answered with patience and clarity. He spoke of human ingenuity, of creativity, and of the courage it took to explore the unknown. He admitted their weaknesses but emphasized their strengths, adaptability, compassion, and the willingness to take risks for what they believed was right. For the first time, Liara felt her heart stir with genuine interest. Here was someone different, someone who could not compete with strength or wealth, but could match intelligence and courage in ways the aliens did not understand. She watched him carefully, noting the sincerity in his voice and the honesty in his eyes. During a break in the ceremony, Liara descended from the balcony and walked toward the garden where she had spent time alone the previous evening. Jason, unaware she was approaching, examined a holographic map of Zorathia's trade routes. "Captain Hart," Liara said softly, startling him. "You move through our world with quiet confidence. Many would have been intimidated by the customs, by the size of this palace, by the eyes of 1,000 beings. Yet you seem unshaken." Jason straightened. "Princess Liara, it is a great honor to meet you. I have studied your people, your traditions, and your ways. I wish to understand before I act. I believe respect begins with learning." Liara smiled faintly. "Respect, courage, intelligence, these are qualities too rare in suitors. You may surprise everyone, Captain, but tell me, what do you hope to achieve here? Do humans dream of alliances with alien kingdoms?" Jason hesitated for a moment, then spoke honestly. "I do not come seeking titles or power. I come hoping to build understanding between worlds. I know humans are small and young compared to the galaxy, but I believe that courage and heart matter more than size or age. Perhaps one day humans and Zorathians can learn from each other." Liara's eyes brightened. His words resonated with her own desire for partnership based on respect and courage. "Most suitors speak of what they can give me or the glory they can achieve by marrying me. Few speak of understanding, of partnership. Perhaps that is why no one has truly captured my heart until now." Jason looked at her carefully, sensing the weight of her words. "Princess, I am honored by your words, but I must admit I am only human. I may fail, I may stumble, yet I promise that my intentions are sincere." Liara nodded. "Intentions are more important than perfection. Perhaps it is time to see if your courage matches your words." The afternoon brought the first test. The council organized a challenge of intellect, where each suitor had to solve a puzzle representing Zorathia's history and culture. Most aliens completed it quickly, showing off their knowledge of politics, language, and technology. When Jason approached, some snickered. How could a human so new to the galaxy compete with beings who had lived centuries in this world? Jason took a deep breath and studied the puzzle. At first it seemed confusing, full of alien symbols and connections. But he noticed patterns, similarities with human logic and connections others had overlooked. Slowly, carefully, he began to solve it step by step. Liara watched, her heart beating faster. She had never seen a human think so clearly, adapt so quickly, and approach a challenge with both patience and creativity. When Jason completed the puzzle, the council was stunned. Many aliens had failed or only partially solved it, yet the human had succeeded using a method none had considered. Whispers spread through the plaza. Some aliens began to murmur admiration, while others frowned, unable to believe a human could accomplish such a task. Liara clapped softly, unseen by most, but her heart was full. She realized that bravery, intelligence, and heart could not be measured by age, strength, or tradition alone. After the puzzle challenge, Liara took Jason aside. "You see the world differently," she said quietly. "Most suitors try to impress with strength, knowledge, or wealth. You simply understand. That is rare even here." Jason bowed slightly. "Thank you, Princess. I only hope my actions are worthy of your attention." Liara's eyes held a quiet determination. "Perhaps they are, Captain. Perhaps they are enough to change not just my view, but the view of the Council and the galaxy." As the day drew to a close, the sun set behind the crystal towers, casting long shadows over the plaza. The crowd began to disperse, discussing the day's events. Liara returned to her private garden, where she often sought peace and clarity. Jason followed, maintaining a respectful distance. "You do not need to impress me," Liara said, turning to him. Many suitors have tried and failed. Perhaps it is time to see if courage and heart can succeed where strength and tradition have not. Jason nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. He did not fully know what she meant, but he sensed a challenge. A test not just of skill, but of character. For the first time, he felt that this human, small and untested compared to the aliens, could truly make a difference in this world. Liara looked at him with a quiet smile, a spark of daring in her eyes. The day had shown her that humans, though underestimated, had qualities no one could ignore: adaptability, courage, and honesty. Perhaps the one who no one expected, the human, was indeed the one who could stand by her side. As darkness fell over Zorathia, the twin moons rising in the sky, Liara felt a thrill of hope. Tomorrow she would take a step unlike any other princess in history. She would act boldly, guided not by tradition, but by her own heart, and somewhere in the palace garden, Captain Jason Hart felt the weight of possibility settle upon him. Unaware that his courage and intelligence had already begun to change the fate of a princess, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy. The following morning, the Grand Plaza of Zorathia buzzed with anticipation. Word of the human Captain Jason Hart and his unexpected success in the intellectual challenge had spread throughout the palace and city. Whispers ran through the crowd. Some aliens were intrigued, some skeptical, but all eyes were now on him. Princess Liara stood on her balcony, dressed in flowing robes that shimmered like liquid crystal. Today was the day she would act on her decision. She had spent the night thinking, weighing the traditions of her people against her heart. The council expected her to choose from the remaining alien suitors. But Liara knew that no one else had shown the courage. Intelligence and sincerity she valued. She scanned the crowd, her gaze finally resting on Jason. He was calm, standing straight despite the attention. Humans were considered weak in the galaxy, yet here he was, standing firm among aliens who had lived centuries in their advanced societies. His quiet bravery resonated with her. The first suitor of the day approached. A tall, armored Thalric warrior stepped forward, his movements precise and commanding. "Princess Liara," he said, voice booming, "I offer my strength. I have trained my entire life to protect, to lead, and to serve. I will fight for you, and I will ensure your reign is unmatched." Liara listened politely, nodding slightly. She had seen displays of strength before, but her heart did not stir. Strength alone could not build a lasting partnership. It could not inspire her mind or her soul. Next came a Vorton scholar, with eyes that gleamed like liquid silver. "Princess," he said softly, "I offer wisdom. I have studied the stars, the histories of our worlds, and the paths of diplomacy. I can guide you through any challenge." Liara considered his words. Knowledge was valuable, but it was empty without courage or heart. Many had wisdom, many had strength, many had wealth, but none had the combination she sought. Then, as the sun rose higher, Liara made her decision. She descended the grand staircase, flowing robes moving gracefully, and approached the crowd. The murmurs grew louder as everyone realized she would speak before the suitors. She paused, taking a deep breath. The wind from the twin suns carried the scent of crystal and stone, and the crowd fell silent in anticipation. Liara raised her voice so it could be heard across the plaza. "Many suitors have come to win my hand," she began, her tone steady and confident. "They have offered strength, wisdom, and wealth. Yet none have captured my heart." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Until now." All eyes turned to Jason. He shifted slightly, sensing the weight of the moment but unsure what to expect. Liara's gaze held his, steady and unflinching, her eyes filled with determination. She took a bold step forward. "Captain Jason Hart, human of Earth, will you be my husband?" A stunned silence fell over the plaza. The council gasped. Alien suitors froze mid-step, unsure how to react. Whispers rippled through the crowd. A human? A species considered weak, untested, and new to the galaxy. No one had ever dared such a choice. Jason's heart raced. He had expected curiosity, perhaps skepticism, but not a direct proposal from the princess herself. His training kicked in and he spoke clearly, respectfully. "Princess Liara," he said, I am honored by your words. I am not of your world, nor am I as experienced as your people, but I promise to stand by you, to respect you, and to learn from you. If you will have me, I will do my best to be worthy of your trust." The crowd murmured again. Some aliens were impressed by his humility and honesty, while others whispered doubts. The council members exchanged tense glances. They had expected a traditional choice, someone from their own species, someone who followed the rules. This was unexpected, unprecedented, and even unsettling. Liara ignored the whispers. She had made her choice. Tradition and expectation could not guide her heart. Courage and honesty could. She turned to Jason, her expression calm and resolute. "Captain Hart," she said, "I do not seek perfection. I seek courage, intelligence, and a heart that values partnership. You have shown these qualities not through wealth or power, but through your actions and your words. That is why I ask you to be my husband." Jason took a deep breath. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, yet he felt an unexpected surge of confidence. He had trained for diplomacy, for negotiation, for survival, but he had never faced a moment like this, a human, asked to join the ruling family of an advanced alien world. "I accept," he said, his voice steady, carrying across the plaza, "not because I am worthy by your people's standards, but because I will strive to be worthy by my actions. Together we can learn, grow, and face the galaxy as partners." A murmur ran through the crowd. The princess had chosen a human, and the human had accepted. It was a shock, a bold defiance of tradition, and yet there was a sense of excitement. Many began to see the courage in both their actions. The princess had acted on her heart, and the human had stepped forward to meet her challenge. The council approached cautiously. High Chancellor Voris, the eldest member, spoke first. "Princess Liara, this choice is unconventional. Are you certain of this decision?" Liara nodded firmly. "I am certain. Captain Hart has shown courage, intelligence, and a heart that matches mine. This is not a choice of convenience or appearance. This is a choice of trust, respect, and partnership." The council remained silent for a moment, then slowly began to nod. Some were skeptical, but they could not deny the human's intelligence and bravery. Others were intrigued, seeing the potential for a partnership that could unite worlds in ways previously unimaginable. Liara turned to the suitors, who had gathered nearby, waiting for her decision. "Your strengths are impressive," she said kindly. "But my choice is not based on wealth, power, or appearance. My choice is based on heart and courage. You may leave with honor, knowing that you tried to win my trust, but my path lies elsewhere." One by one, the suitors bowed and departed, some in disappointment, others in quiet admiration. The crowd began to cheer, slowly at first, then growing louder as they realized the significance of the moment. A princess had chosen courage and heart over tradition. A human had accepted the challenge. Jason remained by her side, feeling the weight of both expectation and possibility. "Princess," he said softly, "I know I am new to your world, and there will be challenges ahead, but I am ready to face them with you." Liara smiled, a mixture of relief and excitement in her eyes. "And I am ready to face them with you, Jason. Together we will navigate this world and the galaxy beyond. This is only the beginning." As the twin suns set behind the crystal towers, casting the plaza in hues of gold and pink, Liara and Jason walked side by side. They had defied tradition, captured the attention of the galaxy, and begun a partnership that would be remembered for generations. The princess, who no one had chosen, had made the boldest choice of all, and the human had stepped forward to meet her heart. In the quiet moments afterward, Liara led Jason to her private garden. The glowing flowers and silver streams reflected the light of the moons rising in the sky. "Tomorrow," she said, "we begin the true work. Not of ceremony, not of appearances, but of learning, understanding, and building a life together. You will face challenges, as will I, but together we will overcome them." Jason nodded, looking at her with quiet determination. "I am ready, Princess. For you, for your people, and for the bond we are forming. I may be human, but I will give everything I can to be worthy of this trust." Liara reached out, touching his arm gently. "Your courage is already enough, Jason. Your heart is already strong. Let us see how far we can go, not as ruler and subject, not as alien and human, but as equals, as partners." The moons of Zarathia glimmered above, reflecting in the flowing streams and crystal towers. In that moment, the future felt wide open, full of possibility. The princess and the human had taken the first step into a new chapter, not just for themselves, but for the galaxy. A chapter where courage, intelligence, and heart mattered more than tradition or expectation. As night fell, the city of Zorathia hummed with excitement and wonder. Word of the princess's bold choice would spread to other worlds, inspiring curiosity, hope, and perhaps a re-evaluation of what it meant to be strong, to be worthy, to be brave. For Liara and Jason, the journey had only begun, but they faced it together, guided by mutual respect, understanding, and the quiet knowledge that sometimes the most extraordinary partnerships began with a simple act of courage and a bold question from the heart. The morning sun rose over Zorathia, its twin beams reflecting off the crystal towers in sharp streaks of light. Princess Liara and Captain Jason Hart walked through the palace corridors toward the Hall of Trials, a place where suitors were tested not only for skill, but for character, courage, and loyalty. Though Jason had impressed the princess with his intelligence and honesty, the council insisted that he prove himself through the traditional trials of Zorathia. The hall was enormous, stretching higher than the tallest towers with walls carved from luminescent crystal that glowed softly in response to movement. Each trial was designed to test a different virtue: mind, strength, agility, and heart. Aliens from different clans had passed or failed these trials for centuries. Today, Jason would face them, not just as a human, but as the chosen partner of the princess. Liara walked beside him, her hand lightly brushing his. "Do not worry about the council or the spectators," she said softly. "They will judge you, but what matters is that you remain true to yourself. Your courage and honesty brought you here. Keep them close." Jason nodded, feeling a mixture of nervousness and determination. "I will do my best, Princess. I may not be as strong or as fast as the others, but I will face each trial with everything I have." The first trial was the trial of knowledge. The suitor had to solve complex puzzles that combined logic, history, and alien science. Jason stepped forward, observing the patterns carefully. At first, the alien symbols seemed confusing, but he noticed relationships that mirrored Earth's logical structures. Step by step, he solved each puzzle, using his human perspective to approach problems differently. The council watched silently, their faces a mix of skepticism and surprise. When Jason completed the final puzzle faster than most alien suitors could, a ripple of astonishment passed through the room. Princess Liara's eyes sparkled with quiet pride. She knew he had not only succeeded, but done so with ingenuity and patience that no alien had expected. Next came the trial of agility. Jason had to navigate a series of floating platforms over a pit of luminous energy. Many alien suitors leaped and darted with precision, their movements honed by centuries of training. Jason hesitated for a moment, assessing the platforms. Then, using careful calculation and balance, he jumped from one to the next. He stumbled once, catching himself just in time, but continued with steady focus. The crowd gasped at his determination. Though he lacked the natural agility of some aliens, his persistence and adaptability impressed everyone. Liara watched with admiration. Here was a human, facing challenges that should have been impossible, yet refusing to give up. Courage, she realized, was not always in raw strength. It was in resilience and determination. After the agility trial, the trial of strength awaited. A massive crystal golem stood in the center of the arena, designed to test physical power and endurance. Many aliens approached with confidence, using raw force to push, lift, or strike. Jason knew he could not match them in sheer strength. Instead, he observed the golem carefully, noting its movements and patterns. With patience and strategy, he found weak points and used leverage, moving with precision rather than force. Step by step, he guided the golem to complete the required tasks. The council members whispered among themselves, some frowning at the unconventional approach, others nodding with respect. Jason's human ingenuity had turned what seemed impossible into success. Finally, the trial of heart remained. The suitor had to demonstrate loyalty, compassion, and wisdom by making a choice that could affect the lives of others. In the center of the hall, a group of young aliens stood blindfolded, surrounded by dangerous obstacles. The suitor had to lead them safely to the other side, but the path was confusing, with choices that could endanger the children if handled carelessly. Jason's eyes scanned the situation. He approached slowly, speaking calmly to the young aliens, guiding them step by step while teaching them to notice danger and make careful decisions. The obstacles were tricky, but he remained patient, never panicking, always encouraging. By the time the last child reached safety, the council members were silent, many unable to hide their astonishment. Princess Liara stepped forward, her eyes bright. "You have passed the trials, Jason," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. "Not by strength alone, not by tradition alone, but by courage, intelligence, and heart. You have shown qualities no suitor has shown before." Jason bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Princess. I could not have done this without your trust and guidance. I only hope I continue to be worthy of it." The council deliberated briefly before High Chancellor Vorus stepped forward. "Captain Jason Hart, you have proven yourself in every trial. Though your methods are untraditional, your courage, intelligence, and heart cannot be denied. You are worthy of the princess's trust and partnership." The hall erupted in applause, though some whispers of doubt remained. Many aliens were impressed, others reluctant to accept a human in such a position. Yet the courage and skill Jason had shown could not be ignored. Even those skeptical felt a measure of respect growing inside them. Liara reached out and touched his arm. "You have done more than I could have imagined, Jason. Not only have you proven yourself, but you have also opened eyes that never expected to see a human rise in this world." Jason smiled faintly, feeling the weight of responsibility, yet also a deep satisfaction. "I only did what I thought was right. Your belief in me made all the difference, Princess." Over the next days, Jason continued to demonstrate his abilities, helping with strategic planning, assisting in diplomatic negotiations, and showing respect to all aliens he met. He was not perfect. He stumbled, learned, and adapted. But in every challenge, his courage, patience, and intelligence shone through. The council began to shift in their perception. High-ranking members who had doubted the human's worthiness now spoke of him with cautious respect. Some aliens approached him, asking questions and seeking advice, intrigued by his unique perspective. Princess Liara watched quietly, proud of the man who had stepped forward not just as a suitor, but as a partner, equal in thought and action. One evening, after a long day of demonstrations and planning, Liara led Jason to the palace garden. The glowing flowers shimmered under the light of Zarathia's moons, the silver streams reflecting the stars above. "You have changed much in a short time," she said softly. "Not just in the council, not just in the trials, but in the hearts of those who doubted. You have shown that courage and intelligence can come from unexpected places." Jason looked at her, a faint smile on his face. "I only followed what I believe. But I admit I could not have done any of this without your trust. You gave me the chance to show who I am." Liara nodded. "And you have proven yourself beyond all expectations. The galaxy will watch this partnership with interest, Jason. Humans are underestimated and yet, perhaps underestimated no longer." He laughed softly. "I hope I can continue to live up to that, Princess. There will be more challenges ahead, and I am only beginning to learn your world and its ways." She smiled, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. "And we will face them together. You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart, qualities that matter more than tradition or power. Together we can achieve far more than either of us could alone." The night air was calm, carrying the soft scent of the glowing flowers. For a human, Jason had faced unimaginable challenges, and yet he had risen not through force or wealth, but through patience, ingenuity, and heart. The princess, unchosen by all before him, had found a partner who matched her courage and values. A human who could stand beside her in a galaxy of doubt and expectation. As they walked through the garden, the crystal towers reflecting moonlight in shimmering colors, Jason felt a quiet certainty. He had faced trials that tested mind, body, and spirit, and he had succeeded. He had not done it for glory nor for status, but because he believed in doing what was right. And in that belief he had found a place beside the Princess of Zarathia, a place that no one had expected a human to earn. Liara looked at him with pride and a spark of excitement. "Tomorrow the Council and the Galaxy will formally recognize our partnership. But for tonight, let us simply stand together, knowing that courage and heart can overcome even the most rigid expectations." Jason nodded, feeling the truth in her words. The trials had been hard, the path uncertain, but he had proven not only to the Council but to himself that humans could rise to meet challenges beyond their imagined limits. And now he stood ready to face the next chapter, not alone but with Princess Liara at his side, guiding and supporting him as partners and equals. The moons shone brighter, casting silver light across the garden and the city beyond. In that moment, Zarathia felt alive with possibility. A human had risen to meet the trials of an alien world, and a princess had chosen him not for tradition, but for courage, heart, and intelligence. Together they were more than just an unlikely pair. They were a symbol of hope, unity, and the power of choice in a galaxy full of expectation and doubt. The morning sun rose slowly over Zarathia, twin rays of gold and amber spilling across the crystal towers. Today the city and the galaxy beyond awaited the formal recognition of Princess Liara and Captain Jason Hart. News of the princess choosing a human had spread far and wide, sparking curiosity, admiration, and skepticism in equal measure. The central plaza was filled with thousands of aliens from many clans. Their eyes wide with anticipation, holographic banners shimmered overhead, displaying images of Liara and Jason from the past days. The trials, the challenges, the moments that had proven courage and heart were more important than tradition or power. Princess Liara stood atop the grand dais, her robes flowing and sparkling like liquid crystal. Beside her, Jason stood tall and calm, his human features unusual among the crowd of aliens, yet his posture radiated quiet confidence. He had spent the night preparing, reviewing customs, and readying himself for this moment. But more than preparation, he felt something else, a deep certainty that he was where he was meant to be. High Chancellor Voris stepped forward, his silver robes catching the light. "Princes, citizens, and honored guests," he began, his voice carrying across the plaza. "We gather today to witness a choice that defies expectation, challenges tradition, and yet embodies the courage and heart we value most. Princess Liara has made a decision unprecedented in the history of Zarathia. She has chosen not a suitor of wealth, not a suitor of power, but a human, Captain Jason Hart, to be her partner." The crowd murmured. Many aliens were shocked. Some whispered doubts, others admiration. Humans were considered small and untested, yet here one stood, chosen by the princess herself. Liara glanced at Jason. He met her gaze steadily, a quiet smile on his face. She felt a thrill of pride and hope. The council members nodded to the dais attendants, signaling the start of the ceremony. A series of rituals symbolic of trust, courage, and partnership began. Jason followed Liara's lead, his human presence blending with the ancient customs in a way that surprised many of the spectators. The first ritual tested loyalty. Liara and Jason were asked to make a symbolic choice together, representing trust in each other. Liara stepped forward, her hand extended. "Captain Hart," she said, "I trust you with my world, my people, and my heart. Will you accept this responsibility?" Jason took her hand carefully. "Princess Liara, I accept. I will stand beside you, protect you, and learn from you. I promise to honor your trust with everything I am." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd. Some whispered admiration, some disbelief, but the sincerity in Jason's voice could not be denied. The princess had chosen courage and heart, and the human had embraced that trust fully. Next came the trial of unity. Liara and Jason were given a symbolic task, to navigate a path filled with shifting platforms, reflective energy fields, and glowing obstacles, representing the challenges of leadership, partnership, and the unknown future. Many suitors had failed such trials before, relying on brute strength or speed. Jason paused, studying the path carefully. He did not try to rush or dominate it with force. Instead, he moved thoughtfully, watching Liara's guidance and matching her steps. They spoke in quiet whispers, sharing strategies, reading each other's movements, and supporting one another. The crowd watched in silence, captivated by the harmony and understanding forming before their eyes. Step by step, they crossed the final obstacle, reaching the end together. Liara looked at Jason, her eyes shining. "We have faced this path together," she said softly. "We have relied on each other, learned from each other, and overcome the challenge. That is the heart of partnership," Jason smiled. "And that is why I am honored to stand by your side, Princess. Not as a subject or a stranger, but as your partner." The final ritual involved the council and the people. High Chancellor Voris raised his voice. "By the will of the princess and by the courage, intelligence, and heart demonstrated by Captain Jason Hart, we recognize this union as a partnership of equals. Not only shall they lead together, but they shall inspire the galaxy by showing that courage and heart matter above all else." The plaza erupted in applause. Some aliens clapped cautiously, still surprised by the choice. Others cheered loudly, celebrating the bold decision and the partnership that had been forged. The banners above shimmered brighter, reflecting the energy of hope, courage, and change. Liara turned to Jason, taking his hands in hers. Today is the beginning, not the end, she said. We will face challenges, skeptics, and the unknown. But together we will rise above them. Your courage has shown me what humans can achieve, and your heart has proven that strength is not always physical. It is in wisdom, honesty, and partnership. Jason squeezed her hands gently. And your guidance has shown me that a partnership is not just about power or status. It is about understanding, trust, and courage. I am ready for whatever comes, Princess, because we face it together. The council stepped forward, acknowledging their new partnership. Invitations were sent across the galaxy, signaling that the union of a Zorathian princess and a human would serve as a bridge between worlds. Aliens who had doubted humans began to reconsider, and whispers of respect and curiosity spread far beyond the crystal towers of Zorathia. Over the following days, Jason learned more about Zorathia's customs, laws, and responsibilities. He worked closely with Liara, assisting in diplomatic negotiations, advising on trade, and observing the council's procedures. Though humans were considered primitive by many, Jason's perspective brought fresh ideas and solutions to old problems. His courage and honesty earned him the respect of even the most skeptical council members. Liara noticed the subtle shifts in perception. Aliens who had once whispered doubts now sought Jason's advice. His presence challenged assumptions and inspired curiosity. The princess felt proud, not only of the human she had chosen, but of the example they were setting for a galaxy that often valued tradition over heart. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystal towers, Liara and Jason walked through the palace garden. The air was cool, the soft glow of the flowers reflecting off the silver streams. You have done more than I could have imagined, Liara said softly, not just in the trials, but in the hearts of our people. You have shown that courage, intelligence, and honesty can change minds and inspire others. Jason looked at her, a quiet smile on his face. I could not have done it without your trust. You gave me the chance to show who I am. Together we have done more than either of us could alone. Liara reached out, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. And this is only the beginning. There will be challenges ahead, misunderstandings and moments that test us. But I know with you by my side we can face anything. The galaxy will watch and they will see what courage and partnership can achieve. Jason nodded. I am ready, Princess. Not for glory, not for tradition, but to face the future with you. Whatever comes, we will meet it together. The moons of Zorathia shone brightly, casting silver light across the garden and palace. In that glow, Liara and Jason stood together, partners in every sense. A human and a princess united by courage, heart, and mutual respect. Their union was more than personal. It was a symbol to the galaxy that strength could take many forms and that the qualities of courage, intelligence, and honesty were universal, not limited by species or tradition. In the following weeks, the galaxy began to take notice. Envoys from other worlds came to witness the partnership, curious about the human who had risen to meet the challenges of Zorathia. Many were inspired, seeing the value of courage, creativity, and heart over rigid expectation. Humans were no longer considered weak. They were seen as allies, thinkers, and leaders capable of facing the unknown. Liara and Jason continued to work together, learning from one another, building bridges between worlds, and inspiring those around them. Their partnership became a story told across the stars, a story of courage, love, and the power of choice. In the quiet moments, away from ceremonies and council chambers, Liara looked at Jason with pride and affection. You have changed more than our world, she said softly. You have changed the way we think, the way we see humans, and the way we see each other. Jason smiled, taking her hand. And you have shown me the value of courage and heart. Together we are more than tradition or expectation. We are a partnership, a team, and perhaps even a symbol of what the galaxy can become. The twin suns rose again, marking a new day. Zorathia glittered under their light, full of possibilities and hope. A princess had chosen a human. A human had risen to meet impossible challenges, and together they had begun a journey that would inspire countless beings across the stars. And as they stood side by side, hand in hand, the crystal towers reflecting their unity, Liara and Jason knew that their story was only beginning. Together they would face the galaxy, not as princess and subject, not as human and alien, but as partners, equals, and pioneers of a new era. In the hearts of all who witnessed it, a powerful lesson was clear. Courage, heart, and intelligence could overcome expectation, tradition, and doubt. And sometimes, the most extraordinary partnerships came from the boldest acts of trust and choice.